It's optimizing the marketing, which I didn't draw, or the targeting rather. So we'll just call that T. And then your interview process when you talk to people, and that's really where it's the soft skills that come into play. So in my opinion, I have the attitude. First of all, I truly believe, and I don't know how into law of attraction and all this stuff that you guys are, but I truly believe that every single day I'm going to attract entrepreneur, business minded, willing and able people into my business. I really honestly, like, almost foolishly believe that every day. And it's been happening lately. And I get to, meet and work with a lot of really cool, amazing people. And so when I'm talking to people during the breakthrough session, what I'm thinking is how can I help them? And I'm thinking that this person is a buyer, and that what we have here can help this person get what they want. I ask a shit ton of questions. In fact, if you're doing calls and you're talking most of the time, you're probably doing it wrong. And I know there's better, you could call it phone closers or salespeople in here than me. Like Nolan is really amazing. Harrison is like the kingpin. But I just really, really listen. I take detailed notes. Everyone that I speak with, I have my headphones in, I have my door shut. I'm super focused. I don't have any other tabs open, and I'm just focused on the person and how we can help them. Because whether they want to drink the water, which obviously Nolan, like how you guys we just kind of talked about, everybody should be hooked on the water. Because I mean, how the hell did we go drinking whatever other water we've been drinking our whole lives prior to this point? That's really honestly how I feel also. But I just, the what's at the forefront of my mind is how can I help this person? And this person is an able and willing entrepreneur and buyer, and we can help them succeed. Dead ass. That's what I'm thinking. And the more I think that and embrace that, and I've been reading The Secret a lot lately, the more I attract those people into my business. So it really has a lot to do with your attitude when you're talking to people. I know Tony Robbins talks about like NLP and what's his name, the guy that did Wolf of Wall Street. He talks about what is it, SLP or something. I don't know. Someone help me out here.
Great Line Situation by Jordan Belfort.
Yes, yes. I don't really think that this, because I've been in sales for a while. It's not that type of selling, because at the end of the day, people who you don't have to, you can disqualify people. Don't be afraid to disqualify people also, because not everyone I talk to I want to work with. And don't be afraid to tell somebody no. Are they a good fit? Are they going to have a good attitude? Are they going to hook up their machine? I had a guy 2 months ago who, literally he did a few calls and he never unboxed his machine. Literally, Nolan, what you said happened. He never unboxed his machine. He never hooked it up. He gave it 3 weeks and this doesn't work. I'm done. And I'm just like, dude. I mean, I'm just thinking like, dude, you suck, man. I didn't say that to him, but LID. A lot of people in Enagic online hashtag LID, life altering device, and so again, yeah, that's super super important. But your mindset and your attitude when you wake up and you're doing calls really has to be on point, because there's days when I do calls and I'm just like, oh, I have 5 calls and I don't want to do all these calls. And guess what? My results those days suck. But when I have a really good attitude and I go into it with a different mindset of how can I really help this person, and this is what I have to do to become successful, and by serving others I'm going to reap the benefits of that, it really does make all the difference. So I don't know if anyone has anything to add to that. That's sort of a little spiritual, I guess, if you will. But I promise you, if you're frustrated a little bit and you have that type of attitude and you flip the switch for yourself, it's made a tremendous difference for me. I think it can do so for you too. So if anyone has anything to add in regards to that.
Yeah, let me add on that. Scott, if you stop sharing your screen, then we can all.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so now I can see everyone. It was the same thing. I want to talk about exactly what Scott just touched on, and when I was selling mortgages, it was the same thing where like let's say it was towards the end of the month and there was a couple days left of the month and, you know, I had to sell 2 more mortgages. When I got on the phone and I'm like, I need the sale, right? And I'm not listening to their goals, I'm focused on my goals. It's a totally different conversation than if I'm sitting back, I ask a question and you say, why do you need this? And then they'll just go off on their pain points, right? You listen to their pain points and you offer a common sense solution to their pain, and they hear you, and in their mind you're someone who can help them, then they're gonna give you money. That's just how it works, right? So if you just ask them what their goals are, why they applied, what they're trying to accomplish, what they would do with an extra $3,000 a month, you know, ask all these questions and just listen. Just sit back and listen and take some notes. And, you know, and I'm sure Harrison will agree, is that when you're digging deep on these questions, this is where you should spend most of your time on the phone call. And if you don't execute this properly, there's a good chance that they're not going to buy, right? And for an example, like let's say you're talking to a single dad who lives kind of like in Alabama, right? And he's got 2 girls, and you ask him, what would you do with an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month? And he's gonna tell you, right? And then write that down. And then at the end of the call, when you're closing, drop that in there, okay? Saying, hey, listen, before we get started, yada yada, do you have any questions? And then at some point in there, in the close, say, okay, we're going to get everything wrapped up here today, and we're going to start working towards your goals of taking your 2 daughters to Disneyland in the next 6 months. That's going to be the goal, right? So let's start working towards that goal, and then you can put in your close, right? How do you want to move forward? Is that a Visa or MasterCard? So that's super important, is to just put them first, put their goals before your own. And a good saying is, money and numbers follow, they do not lead, right? As long as you're going out there and you're helping as many people as you can, the paychecks will come and the money will come, the commission checks will come after that. So that's one thing I just wanted to touch on.
One of my favorite quotes from Grant Cardone, and it's exactly what we're saying, is, oh wait, I just lost it. Oh no, I got it. It's selling is not something that you do to somebody, it's something that you do for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's this whole place of service. Like, people are like, oh, you're in sales and marketing. Oh, like, they just have no freaking clue, because it's really something that we're serving the client with. It's serving. It's not selling. Yeah, a transaction takes place, but there has to be an exchange, right? Money for, you know, a service or for a product. So it really is selling. It's not something that you do to somebody, it's something that you do for somebody. And, you know, if you struggle, I would literally, like, write that on your bathroom mirror, or write that on your desk or somewhere, because that mindset alone, when I first got into sales, you know, 5 years ago, made a huge difference for me.
Absolutely. Well, what do you want to do? Open it up for Q&A?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Does anyone got any questions?
I got more of an idea than a question. For those that are really experienced on phone sales with this particular product, I don't know, I think it would be beneficial for the group and anybody that you guys bring on to put together some type of FAQ sheet of, like, frequently asked questions and kind of responses that we would give to these people, so we can be a little quicker with it, especially if you're kind of ramping up. I only have 1 call so far. Hopefully I'll get more people registered, but it would be awesome to have that together. I'll even add some things that I've noticed in my studies with it, but I think it would be good to have.
Scott, I'm sure you're going to agree with this, but a question that I get a lot is, what exactly am I going to be doing, right? Especially when you're going over the time commitment of 5 to 10 hours per week. You're going to say, yeah, that's about an hour a day. I can commit to that. what exactly am I going to be doing? I pretty much get that every single time. And, you know, one thing that I tell them is, yeah, we're just going to be setting up the sales funnel, setting up the Facebook ad, you know, and you're going to be in constant contact with your mentor, and we're just going to make sure that we're hitting the goals that we set out for you.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have been a little bit clearer. Maybe in terms of like a Nagic FAQ for Nagic questions.
Yeah, we could have. Let's do that. That's a great idea, man. Yeah, we could get to work on that. We could even put a Google Doc in the group, and any questions that you guys are getting or that you have, you could add to the Google Doc, and then we will update that in real time. We'll try to have that done by Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Nolan, you mentioned that like the other product has more plates, but you know, I know this, but I'm not sure if anybody else or everybody else knows this. But like surface area of the plates is really what matters, and the Nagic has much larger surface area for the plate, so it gets more of a charge. So it has more plates doesn't really mean shit because those plates are tiny as hell.
Right. A good rule of thumb is that other ionizers, their plates are about the size of an iPhone screen. Just the screen on an iPhone, they're like tiny. Whereas in a Nagic, they're about the size of an iPad screen. Yeah, or like a DVD or like an iPad screen, or like it's like 4 times bigger. You don't have to know the exact dimensions, but it's about 440 square inches on an SP501 and a little bit bigger on a K8. So there's that extra plate. And then that 13 plate ionizer with that other company, I think is Life. It's like half as much, even though there's 13 plates.
Dope.
But yeah, again, just watch those videos. I can email them all to you. All you have to do is send me a Facebook message with your email. And I know a bunch of you guys already have, so I'll get to that after this Hangout or this Zoom. But yeah, I can send everyone all those videos. Or maybe I can just post it in the success team, right? All of them, the links. Be a good idea.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, you should do that. I mean, that's beneficial to everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Any other frequently asked questions?
Well, sure. This is not pertaining to actually building the business, but since I am flying out to Japan tomorrow, I was trying to figure out what process do I have to follow so I can actually take my bottle with water onto the plane itself. Since I know like TSA, they kind of stop you from like bringing anything like bottled water in or anything with like that's liquid in general. So
You just need the certificate on your phone. Literally, I don't even use the paper one. I just get my gallon and I use the one on my phone. When I'm going through, the person that's like on the computer, I'll be like, hey, I'm sending a bottle of water through. It's medical grade water. I've got a certificate for it and everything. I got to show you. I just wanted to let you know so you're not like, what the fuck is this when it comes through? And they're like, okay, then they have to call a manager. And then basically all that they do is they like wipe the thing down and then they have you open the lid and they'll put a little strip over it. And if it doesn't like turn colors, then they'll, most of the time, 98% of the time for me, I've traveled with the gallon at least 10 times flying. And only one time have I had somebody tell me no. And I just have the certificate on my phone, and then I can send it to you or put it in a group or whatever. But I just tell them, just be really confident about it. And be like, hey, I travel with this a lot. This is the only water that I can drink. I have a medical device. Are you taking your device with you?
I'm not taking my device with me, but I'm taking at least a gallon with me, and then I'm assuming I might be able to find someone from Enagic as well over
For
there
sure.
to
For
share
sure.
stuff.
I was just curious because then you can be like, it's this medical device that I'm bringing with me, but if not, that's cool. So just be really confident about it. Just like, hey, I just want to let you know as it's going through, you guys are going to have to like swab it, make sure that it's okay and it's just water, but it is medical grade and I've got my certificate. And just keep reiterating that and just have the confidence that you've done it before. Like I've flown out of LAX, I've flown out of Dallas, flown out of Chicago, New York, Florida, major airports. And it's never been a problem. I just wanted to let you know, and here's my certificate saying it's medical grade, all that. Sometimes they won't even check the certificate. Literally, like...
Yeah, they just do the strip test. Dude, I've given out business cards in the airport doing that.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck? How are you bringing it?
Oh, this guy.
Nice.
Hey Zach, it's Ismail. Second question to follow up with that is there any like certification that I use to like bring the entire machine? Do I have to pay like baggage fees of bringing the machine? Do I get that on for free? Like, is there like
Do it in a carry on. That's what I've always done. So it's with me because if they lose that, you're fucked. Like they're not gonna buy you a new one. So just go ahead and do it bring it on a carry on, and just you do have to take it out and put it in its own like a laptop in its own container. And just like, hey, got my device. It's a medical device. You can either be a customer or a salesperson or both with it. I've tried it different ways, and they just swab it all down. Just try to get all the water out of it before you go, because one time I was kind of running late, and I like unhooked it, and there was like water coming out, and they were like freaking out. But yeah, just drain it and just take it out, put it in its own tub, and then let them know that it's just a medical device that I use for my drinking water. And then they'll bring it through, and then they'll just swab it. So just make sure account for that. That's an extra 10 to 15 minutes depending on how busy it is, where the manager is, stuff like that. So that'll just get you caught up a little bit more in the line. But you don't need any kind of certificate or paperwork for the device itself. They're just going to wipe it down, swab it, make sure it's not weird.
Okay, for sure. Thanks.
Yep. I took mine from Chicago to Mexico and back, so you should be able to get through if you're just going state to state.
Actually, the other question I should follow up is, if I were to, let's say, bring a machine or bring water from outside of another country and coming back, is the procedure the same thing, or do they not really care as much? It's the same thing. Just be like, hey, you need to swab this, make sure, it's just drinking water, make sure there's nothing, it's not contaminated or anything. It's just my medical, for medical purposes. And if they ask you what your medical reason is, you could, anything, just to not be dehydrated. It could even be as basic as that. But I'm just like, it's my medical, like there's whatever. The one time I didn't, it was in LAX flying back to Dallas or something, and the guy he just was a douche, and he was like, no, it doesn't have your name on it. It doesn't have your name prescribed to you. I'm like, well, no, the company is like, it's a generic piece of paper showing that it's medical, and he's just like, well, it doesn't have your name, so it's not specifically for you, so I can't allow you to take the water on. I was like, what the fuck? So I had to go dump it out and bring it back. But you can carry it with you empty, just to let you know, so you don't have to like throw the gallon away. If for whatever reason they don't approve it, they'll just ask you to dump it out and come back through the line.
Hey Zach, I got cut off. How do you get this certificate?
You can get it on the website. I don't know exactly where it's I forget which. Do you know what it's called, Scott? Which one it is?
I don't know. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I've got to. I just have it on my. I used to have the paper one, but I just because even now the plane tickets are on your phone now, right? So like they take everything electronic basically.
Yeah. Another question, and don't flame me for this, but this makes me wonder about when Tyler mentioned the travel unit. I know we don't sell those, but it being a decent machine, have you ever used a travel unit in a case like this where it's like you're on a plane? I'm not about to drink this nasty ass Dasani. I want to like throw it through this travel unit or something.
Dude, I love how you said we don't sell travel units. My man.
Nolan. Yeah, we discontinued those, sir. I'm sorry. But if you want to package it with the K8, then we can definitely get that done for you. No, I'm not sure I understand the question exactly, but I've never traveled with the travel unit. I've had experience with one, but I've never traveled with one.
Yeah, just like, what's that like? Like, say in a situation where I'm out and about, say I'm out of my gallon or whatever.
Have you
used a travel unit before?
Any device. Shit. If you can find a faucet, you can just hold it up to the faucet and turn the cold water on, then turn the eye on, and it'll come through. We've had to do it in Vegas before, like in certain hotel rooms that didn't connect. I've just had to hold it up to it. You just have to make sure you hold it up, or it'll fucking squirt all over you, dude, make a terrible mess. But just hold it right and turn the water on. If you have two people, it works a lot better. But yeah, you can, as long as the hoses I don't unhook any of the hoses or anything. I just have it all, just unplug it from the sink and the wall, and then pack it up, and you can just pull it out to any source of water and just hook it up to, like, you don't have to hook it up. You just hold it up to it and turn it on, and the water runs through.
All right, word. Thank you.
Mm.
Does anybody have any internet marketing specific questions, concerns? I'd really like to address those.
I have a question about the sales process. Like Nolan was saying earlier, you're walking them through, and then you're like, okay, Visa, MasterCard, all that. Like, what do they want to use? Now, are you guys using kind of the same process as Harrison? Like, you're digging deep to find out how much money they already have before this, like, and you're figuring out if they have the limit for the 5,000. Do you bring up the full 4,200 price, 5,300, or do you just do the 55 a month?
Depends. So, like, you know, obviously we dig deep on their financial situation, right? And 3 questions that we have to ask every single call, no matter what, underline these, circle these questions. How much money do you have saved up?
Mm.
What do your credit scores look like? And what do you have in available credit? That's going to determine if this is going on a Visa, or no, if it's going on a credit card, a debit card, or a new credit card.
Right.
The 3 main ones. And let's say their credit scores suck, right? And they don't have any available credit. We have to figure out how much they have to see if they could do the down payment, right? So you have to figure out what route they're going with before we ask for the business, right?
Right.
Because we get down to the bottom of the script, and you say, how do you want to move forward, Visa or MasterCard? They say, I don't have the money.
Right.
You did your job wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Deep enough.
Cool.
So, and sometimes people will beat around the bush. Like, we'll say, well, you know, and I don't like to get too personal, but like I like to make it seem like no big deal. Like, you know, how much would you say you've got saved up right now? Just ballpark.
Right.
And they'll say, oh, not much, right? I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck. I don't have much. And that doesn't tell me much, you know. And you ask again,
Well,
if you were to just round it, I mean, like, what would you say? I mean, and I tell people, everyone's definition of not much is a little bit different.
Right.
Is a couple hundred, is a few hundred, is a few thousand. I had a guy say not much, and then he's like, and I dug a little deeper. He's like, yeah, I only have like 20 grand in the bank right now.
Yeah. Right.
20 grand. And then someone else, their not much is $5.
Yeah.
You know, so depends. So I dig deep. I figure out how much they have, pretty much down to the closest $100 in their bank account, mobile credit, what their credit scores look like, and then when we get to the end, you know, you should know how they're paying for it.
Right. Cool. I just wanted to kind of hear you break it down. That's similar to how I do. I was just curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another important point to that is you always want to help people, you know, with where they're at. Like, rule number 1, Grant Cardone, never sell to broke people.
Yeah.
Because who wants to work with broke people, right? And that's not to say, again, if you're doing okay, but you want to do a lot better, but you help people where they're at. So within the first 10 minutes, my goal is to find out if they're a qualified buyer.
Yeah.
And people who aren't, I'll be like, look, let me cut right to the chase. You know, there's a difference between being willing and able, and I'll say this very respectfully. You know, this is a high-level coaching program and a high-ticket internet business, and obviously everyone wants to make more money, right? Right. Everyone, you know, I'll say that. And I'll say, although a lot of people are willing, not everybody is able, and, you know, the cost is $4 or $5K to this program. We teach our students a strategy where they can leverage OPM, leverage credit, to get started with no money out of their pocket today. Now, if you had the credit, I would take you through the sequence, right? Because it could be a viable option for you. But because you're not there and you've kind of expressed that to me already, even though you may be willing, you're not